Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony.
Sitting here half-waxed.
I was laying half-waxed with the door open, so there's people getting pedicures and manicures in there, and she comes back. Oh, wait,
that's one of the very simplest pleasures, is being fully waxed.
Okay, what time is it? I have to get to the theater.
I feel like maybe I shouldn't even be talking to you about this stuff.
You make her dinner. That's what I'm trying to get to. Give me a second, okay? Calm down. I mean, okay, just calm down. Just calm down. Make her dinner. I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first guest today is an actress and a producer known for Two Ways Home, 2019, Hollywood Dreams, 2006, and Irene in Time, 2009. Her theatrical work includes John Patrick Shaley's Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, directed by Carl Weathers Rocky. She's here today to talk about a new play she's doing called, ready for this? Hanyak, a one-person event where she's the star, ladies and gentlemen. So, without any further ado, please welcome Tanna Frederick. Greetings, Tanna, and welcome to The Actor's Choice.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
My pleasure, madam. Let's start with you telling us where you were born.
I was born, wow, taking me all the way back. I was born in Iowa, in the northern Iowa, about 45 minutes south of the Minnesotan border.
Okay.
So I still sometimes have that little, that little lilt of like, oh yeah, it's almost Christmas time and I'm going back to Minnesotans soon.
Well, it's good to do that, to get with family and friends. It's a good thing to do,
right.
be able to do. You know that. We all know that. Just hope that you have yourself a real good time. That's all.
That's as long as everybody's cooking except me, I'm always going to have a good time.
What you cooking? What you cooking?
I'm not going to cook, but my family is a very Czechoslovakian family, and so some of our favorite dishes for like holidays are sauerkraut and dumplings. It sounds not good, but it's so good together.
When you say sauerkraut, with a little mustard
right?
on top.
Yeah. What about you, Ron? What's your favorite Christmas dish?
I'm gonna get a little something here. Give me some. Well, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Yeah.
What a good friend of mine. He asked me all the time to cook a special dinner for him. It's pig's feet. Pig's feet. You eat everything on the pig except the oink, oink, oink. You don't eat that. But I'm gonna have that. Everything is cultural,
Iowan. That is something we would eat in Iowa. Where do you get those out here? Oh wow. That's legit. That's like OG.
OG.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you get used to it, here's what you do. You get used to that. That's what you do. What you do. So you grew up in Iowa. What was that experience like?
My town was really nice and supportive of the arts. My hometown was Meredith Willson's birthplace. So 70, he was, in charge of like the whole 76 trombones movement of bringing a whole bunch of music into the high school in northern Iowa and kind of reshaping that community. So a lot of people were really into supporting kids and treating us like adults when I was doing a lot of community theater, children's theater, whatever I could get my hands on there.
Got you. So here's a question, my favorite question. What made you get into acting?
I just knew in fifth grade, I had a best friend who was playing Oliver Twist. They took us in for Girl Scout troop outing, and I sat on the floor because there weren't seats there weren't any seats left. And I remember the lights going down and coming up and seeing him on the stage and thinking, this is the rest of my life. This is my dream. This is what I was meant to do. And the rest is history. After that, I started the theater next year and did like 4 or 5 shows starting at 9 years old, and just never left the theater after that.
Right. How about your education and training? How about that?
My education and training then
Yes.
carried on to the University of Iowa,
Uh-huh.
and then I just drove straight out to California, and in my that's right, in my Honda Civic, and my car broke down in Denver. My uncle fixed it, and I kept driving out to California.
Uh, well, you know what they say, coming to Hollywood. What was that like?
It was, I didn't know a soul, so I was pretty freaked out, but very determined. And I think I got fired from about, 10 jobs, waiting tables and refilling coffees at Marie Callender's, and, just running up and down, trying to make use of my political science degree, where
Uh-huh.
waiting tables, where I was just terrible at it. I was
Wow.
a terrible waitress. I felt very bad for all the restaurants that hired me.
Now, I understand you had a movie. Your first movie was called First Impressions. This was in 2003, a film. And your
Wow.
role was Madison. Remember that?
Yeah, that was very good. You did your research. That was one of those films, you do so many films when you first move out here that you never see again, and you never see
That's right.
never see the daylight. I think that was a UCLA film, and I never saw it, but it was a great experience. I learned what a close-up was. I learned what, I learned what a two-shot was. I learned what like I learned all the camera angles. It was great. It was a great experience. I don't think it ever came out, but it was darn if it wasn't a great leading role for me.
Well, you did get a first IMDb film critic. That was good. That was good. You moved up a little bit then. You went to the years 2006, and you did a movie that people love. The title alone said a lot of dignified, and that is Hollywood Dreams.
Hollywood Dreams.
You did that. Margie Jaglom.
Yeah, I met a director, Henry Jaglom. I was in a play out here, and it was called Toussaint for the Love of Freedom.
Yes.
And one of my friends in the play said, well, if you write this director, Henry Jaglom, a big letter telling him how much you love his films,
yes.
He sometimes casts women in it. He casts women and men who tell him who fanboy or fangirl over his films. He'll cast them in his movies. So I wrote him a big fat letter saying I loved his movie, and he called me into his office and grilled me about the letter. And I held there it is. Yep. Justin Kirk, Melissa Leo, David Proval, amazing cast. Karen Black. Just a Seymour Cassell, just so many incredible, talented, legendary actors in it that I was able to work with. But yeah, Henry just cast me in his movie, and I was really lucky to be a lead and with all those incredible people. And for some reason, I was working on the script with Henry. He had done, I think, close to 20 some films, but he allowed me to write with him, and which is really cool. I was such a little tyke. I was like just barely legal out here, but he let me write the script. He let me cast the film. Justin Kirk had just come out in Wheeze, and wow, it was a cool film. It was a neat, very much like A Star Is Born.
Okay. It wouldn't be anything, they call it indie art house films. It wouldn't be anything like that, would it?
It would be an indie art house film. Yeah, that would be exactly what it is.
I see, because I see you'd like to do some films. What roles were you looking for? Or do you look for?
I look for something that is a little bit surprising, I think. When the character usually turns a corner somewhere in the film and does some sort of surprise to the audience. Usually maybe the character isn't so much a likable character, but usually hopefully I can kind of bring that home and maybe make the character a little bit more likable, or something like my film Two Ways Home, which is out right now on Amazon Prime and Vudu and Mubi. That movie that I produced is about a woman, who has bipolar. It's a narrative feature, but a woman who has a bipolar disorder, and it's a mother. So it's that's again like a role in which challenges the cultural sort of norm, and thinking of what we look at, how we look at mental adversity, and I like challenging the way that society and film sometimes presents those sort of characters to the rest of the world, and switching it up a little bit. In that film, it's a very positive look at how a mother approaches her family and her 13-year-old daughter and reconnects with her family as she's healing and making her way through having bipolar disorder. So those kind of roles really touch me, and challenging the status quo.
Okay. The year was 2017, and you got your first shot as the executive producer in a short film called The Glorious.
Yep, that's right. I really enjoy having my hands on every part of, whether it's theater, whether it's film, whether it's I also produced a VR project with Randall Kleiser, who was a director of Grease, which was very edgy for that time. In 2014, 2015, we started playing around with looking at narrative VR, and it was very new at the time, and telling stories with 360, kind of like theater in the round, which was a very exciting notion, and trying to figure out like how can we use new technology to tell stories in ways that we maybe already have, like using theater in the round, and interactive theater had already been done, but we did that with technology and with storytelling through narrative VR, and went to Sundance, and we went to with our openings with our first episode, and we also went to Sundance and Cannes. So that was great as well. And Glorious, yes, I produced that, and I enjoy producing as well.
Got IMDb EP credits. Can't beat that.
That's right.
Makes the resume look good. It looks good. There was a film that you came up, as they say, ironically, your most acclaimed film was made during a return to your native Iowa, and a multi-award-winning Two Ways Home. Remember that?
Yeah, that was a great film. Yeah. That is a beautiful film. I was able to film that with a lot of talented crew, primarily all utilized from within the state of Iowa. It was very much like giving back and using so many talented people in the Midwest, in all of those Minnesota, Chicago, that whole area. There's so many great people, and I think a lot of times we go to New York for casting and we go to LA for casting, but I wanted to keep it right in that tight little pocket and film right there. And so I had a great crew and a great cast, and all were in Iowa and filmed on my grandparents' farm, which was really special. I
got to tell you this. I like your attitude.
Oh,
good attitude.
Thank you.
Attitude. Speaking of attitude, we just happened to have a clip, Two Ways Home. Roll it, Tony.
Kathy, we're releasing you at the end of the month.
I know that you wanted the extra time, but we are positive that you are ready.
I just feel like they're gonna see me as who I was then.
Of course they are. And now they're gonna see who you are now.
Corey.
What?
I'm home.
Yeah.
I don't think you can help your grandpa. I don't think it's safe for him to be on the farm. He's not well.
I'll make it safe. I'll make it happy. I'll make it nice. He can live out the rest of his life.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Just a little clip. See what it looks like.
For showing that.
Yes. Brings you back to memories, isn't it?
Yeah. Tom Bauer is just wonderful in that. Riley Bear, just a great cast.
Okay. All right, folks, let me tell you a little bit about this lady. While she's been working here in Hollywood, I understand that she also accumulated a long list of stage credits, including roles in The Rainmaker, LA Times Critic Pick, Danny and the Deep Blue Sea, directed by Carl Weathers, and many, many others. Tell us about some of the roles that you did. You had fun.
Well, like you and I were saying, the theater, the boards are home, aren't they?
Yes.
Like that's what we do. We stay on those, and then we keep getting better and better. I feel like that's how we keep our graph sharp.
Yes.
So the longer I can stay on stage and keep learning how much I need to be better at my craft, the better I'll get. So
yes. Well, you're working on a project right now that makes it sound like you're doing real, not good, but gooder. I hear that you put together, you ready for this? Yeah. Tanna Frederick's new show called Hanyak. Tell us about it, please.
You just make me laugh when you say it. That's Hanyak. But I just want you to say it. Hanyak is a Czech word that is kind of like my grandpa used to call me a Hanyak, and my mom and all our sisters Hanyaks when we were kids. And it's kind of like, you know, an artful dodger. It's a Czech term for an artful dodger, or like a honey seeker, or somebody who's like an opportunist, but, you know, not a terrible person, but somebody who's an artist, in other words, who's kind of going after and looking for, chasing after opportunities like we do as actors and artists and musicians and whatever, and then, you know, we are we mostly like running after these opportunities. We end up getting, you know, kind of kicked in the keister as we're running, as we're trying to
kicked in the keister as we're trying to
like get ahead in the game. So Hanyak is kind of my my ode to artists, and my you know, it's a fictional narrative without being completely fiction of my 20 years since moving out to Los Angeles in '99. Ron, when did you move out here? 6 years, 5 years?
I was in the Navy. I came out. Finished out here. I did 21 years in the Navy. I came here around 1974, 5, somewhere around that time. Been here ever since.
Good man. Good man.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your service.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hanyak, that's an interesting name. Where'd you get it from?
It's just one of those Czechoslovakian words that that I was like, what does it mean? And then when I was writing my show and trying to come up with the title, I'm like, what did that word mean? What was that word? Oh, that meant like essentially trying to make it out in Los Angeles. That's a good word for what I am, a Hanyak, like, and what we all are. And it's not, like I said, a negative connotation. It doesn't have a negative connotation. It's just kind of like, well, we do the best we can and we try to get ahead, but a lot of times we get kicked in the keister, like I said, and it's really, it's a show about, you know, my personal well, I don't want to get into it. People can come see it. It's at the Two Roads Theater. It's December 8th, 9th, and 10th at 7:30.
Yes.
And 7:30 on December 8th, Friday, December 9th, Saturday, and December 7:30 on December 10th, and 3:30 there is matinee on that Sunday, and it's on the ticket site Ticket Leap, which has been a great site.
We got a video, Kate. Would you take a look at this? Roll it, Tony.
We were young Hanyaks. We were peasants, honey chasers. chasers, running after sweet opportunities in LA, knowing we were meant for those opportunities. We were the talented ones. But we were the ones who got stung over and over by the consequences of the artist's life.
You don't hear sound now, but we're going to send you a copy of it, and you'll be able to see that what was said at that particular time. Okay. You have a fantastic director, Jenny Sullivan, I'm told.
Yes.
Yes.
Jenny is just amazing. I have wanted to work with her. Again, I've known her probably maybe a decade, if I'm lucky. And she is just an amazing, amazing woman. She is one of the best directors I've ever worked with. The last show that she did was she was working with Linda Pearl on Joan Didion's One Woman Show. Yes. She's worked with so many people. I'm just so like practicing humility. And I'm very humbled working with her. She has the answer to absolutely everything. She has the patience in theater. She has the patience of a saint. She has stories that she's just to me like a legend, and I just like a gem. You know, it's so, I feel so fortunate.
You wrote it, you performed in it, and ladies and gentlemen, you know, doing a one-person play, it requires a lot of spirit, a lot of talent, a lot of things. Tell us about it, please.
It's really terrifying. Have you ever done a one-woman show, Ron? Well, I guess, yeah, you probably won't ever do a one-woman show. Maybe a one-man show.
Not if I can do it. Oh, nice.
No, doing a one-woman show. I did one in college.
Yes.
And I just remember it was my honors thesis project in college, and I was like, I'm never doing this again, and ever this most terrifying naked process ever. It's your words, it's your performance, and it's just you up there, and I pretty much wanted to die the whole time. And so what are you going to do? You're going to do it again, right, in 20 years. So finally, it took me more than 20 years from college to do it, but 30 years later.
Got you. You ready? I got one for you. This one. What excites you the most about this play? Ooh.
Sharing it with people, sharing it with the audience.
Okay.
The therapeutic effects of being like, this has been my life, and I get to share it with you, and these are the Hanyak experiences that I've made in the last 20 years. Don't do what I did, and then do what I did, and then let's share. You know, it's a Christmas story. Hope you're. It's not a Christmas story, but it's a holiday sort of cheery story. Hopefully, you'll get some laughs out of it. You know, and hopefully, we all just realize that we're human. We have compassion for one another. You know, we're all just big goofballs on this planet. And how beautiful is it to have people come and support the attempt of doing a one-woman show? Yep. You know, that's just beautiful that we are in a town where people are very warm and inviting to that, for the most part.
Got you. Possible movie out of this, maybe?
Yes. Well, knock on wood. Knock. Thank you, Ron.
I got to do what I do. So. One more time. How can I get tickets, and where's it going?
Ticket Leap. Ticketleap.com under Hanyak, Hanyak, and it's Friday, Saturday, the 8th and 9th of December at 7:30, and Sunday at 7:30, and Sunday at 3:30. Thank you so much, Ron and Tony.
My pleasure.
Gentlemen, thank you for supporting theater.
I want to thank you for sharing with us the outstanding play that you created. And as they say in the stage industry, break a leg, break a leg. And I want to thank a really good guy, your publicist, Philip Sokoloff, who makes it possible for actors and actresses to be on radio, TV, and the stage. You can't leave that out, okay?
That's right.
Thank you, Philip.
Good man.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Tanna Frederick. Bless you, man, dear. Bless you. This is the Actors Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony. We'd like to let you know that we're asking the Actors Squad to help us get former baseball player, what's that the guy's name? Yeah, Curt Flood, into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, Curt passed away January 20th, 1997, was the husband of one of our wonderful guest renowned actress and good friend, Judy Pace. So all you got to do is contact our office at 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. Okay? Son, we sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Roll it, Tony. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we wanted to thank you for the incredible number of requests that we have been receiving for flyers, postcards, business cards, and other collateral. Now, to streamline the process, we kindly request that you visit our request page and submit your requests, including those for one on-site appears. Now, here's what the link is. You ready? They asked me to say it in a nice way, so I call it www. Seriously, www.theactorschoicela.org/requests. Again, www.theactorschoicela.org/requests. Okay? Contact person for appearance and their information. We'll give you information. And so, again, thank you for staying and following the Actors Choice. Roll it, Tony.
On July 17th, 2020, Congressman John Lewis died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 80. Our program talks about his contributions to life in the United States. It's so good to have you here.
From Los Angeles, this is KLCS PBS. Welcome to Everybody with Angela Williamson, an innovation, arts, education, and public affairs program. Everybody with Angela Williamson is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. And now your host, Dr. Angela Williamson.
Rosa Parks, in her book, A Quiet Strength, wrote, "I am motivated and inspired by young people and children. They are our future."
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest today is a person of enormous and numerous positions. She's a #1 international best-selling author, an Emmy-nominated filmmaker, multiple Telly Awards recipient, and former producer and copywriter for major broadcast TV and cable news networks. That's a mouthful. My goodness, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Angela Sadler Williamson, PhD. Greetings, Angela, and welcome to the Actors Choice, my dear. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. This is
pleasure.
Such an honor.
Pleasure. You, and I'm going to say it up front because everybody, he knows what I'm talking about. That other guy with your last name, Williamson, Joe Williamson. What a guy. You guys working together. He's your manager. He's doing a lot of things for you. Ooh, you got the right guy.
Oh, and he helped me out in so many different ways. I mean, connections are so important in this industry, but you have to have the right connection. Because if you don't, then the energy of what you're trying to do will be hindered. And so this is so important to develop those relationships for anybody out there that wants to get into this industry, to develop those relationships and keep those relationships.
Yes. Because people don't understand. It's who you know in this town. Not, you've got to know people. You've got to know them. Yes,
exactly.
People crack me up. There's a guy in this town, you may know him. He walks around, his name is, what's his name? Oh, my goodness, Steven. You know the guy, Steven. Spielberg.
Oh, you're on the first basis. Okay.
Everybody knows this. Everybody knows him. Oh, that's the way it is in this town.
Yes.
Tell us where you were born, please.
I was actually born here, right out of Los Angeles, in a small town, Diamond Bar. And that is where I grew up. I stayed here. I've been here my entire life. I have not left the state. So I'm probably one of the few people that have been born, raised, developed, went to school, everything right here in Los Angeles, right outside of Los Angeles.
Wow. So, what made you do what you do?
I think if you grow up so close to where media is loved and where you just, it's right in your backyard, there's just, it's a calling.
Mm-hmm.
And so from a very early age, I wanted to be in television, but I wanted to be more behind the scenes. And I mean, from the time I was in elementary school, I was directing and producing plays. I wasn't writing them, but I was doing that. And when I was growing up, I think it was a blessing for me because when I was growing up, I saw someone on the television for the first time that looked like me. And she was so full of personality. And to be able to come directly home after school and make sure that I tuned in to watch the Oprah Winfrey Show. Mm-hmm. I mean, that really showed me at a very young age that I could possibly do what this woman is doing. And I so admired her and always kept that in the back of my mind, even from the time I graduated, went to school, just watching that lady. And a lot of young people don't understand this, but mm-hmm. when you're able to watch someone really grow in their career and grow into this media mogul, and you see those steps, it really encourages you to say, I can step outside the box too.
Wow. You use the word that I love so dear, education. I call it education. Tell us about it. You have a doctorate in human services at the Capello University.
I always knew that education would be what helped me. And it's different for everybody, but I still support education. And in fact, I still teach a class or two at a local community college here in the Los Angeles area. And so for me, I knew if I wanted to get to a certain level, I needed to have that education. And sometimes you don't get to do it right, do it all together. And I took a break. And when I went to go back and get my doctorate, I had a 4-year-old at the time. And so, now he understands the importance of education because he was able to see mom do it as well. And I still think that it doesn't, I did a formal education, but even if you want to go to a technical school or any other school, I think to have that type of background, I believe that no one can ever take that away from you. I have a master's degree and I got that on tuition assistance, and those companies do not exist today. But right. What does exist
you
is
got
that
the paper.
Exactly. Okay. And so I tell people, take advantage of all of that. Right. Because you never know what's going to happen to you from day to day. Yes. And I believe that those papers have helped me, have opened the doors for me that I don't think would have been open without those papers.
I hear you. You see that wall behind me? That's my wall. Whenever I feel down and don't feel good, I go over there and look at those guys and go, yeah. What's up there is my stuff that I have gotten, help people getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a lot of stuff like that. You look at that and it makes you feel good.
Well, and it's all about your legacy. When you think about what you've done and how you've used what your knowledge to help open doors for other people, not only does it make you feel good, but it continues Ron's legacy. And so how important is that for all of us to be able to know that we are continuing a legacy with what we've been given?
Yes. I understand you've been teaching now for 25 plus years.
A little bit, not long, but the 25 plus years I put with media as well. So even with media, I was always the person who ran the internship programs to bring students in and show them how media works. And then formally, I moved into it in 2007. I'm dating myself. I moved into teaching. And that really is what allowed me to go back to school to get that doctorate. So I have been teaching mass media over since 2007. But what's really fantastic right now is I'm actually teaching in a dual enrollment program. So I go into high schools and I teach college courses. So when those students graduate, a lot of students graduate from high school already sophomore, if not a junior in college. And so it gives them a leg up as well. And so it's, like you said, it's all about opening those doors and continuing that legacy.
Got you. How you feel about, what's your feeling about the students that you have in schools today? What's that like?
It's different. It is so different.
Well,
yes, it is. And I think when anybody goes into education, they want to reach every single student there. And I was the same. I was like, I'm going to reach every student and I'm going to make sure those doors are open. But as I've been teaching, as long as I've been teaching, is that I realized that I may not today touch every student live, but I will eventually touch their lives. I mean, I just, right before I'm meeting with you, I just got to fill out a recommendation for a student. She's not majoring in mass media. She's majoring in engineering. She's at UCLA, but that class that I taught her developed that relationship enough. So now I can, now she's doing something different, but she'll always remember what she learned. And so that's what is so gratifying about teaching, is to know that you touch their lives. It may not be today, it may be a year, it may be 5 years from now, but that's why education is so important.
Got you. I'm an educator myself. I teach over at Santa Monica College, and one of the things that I teach over there, I bring my friend along with me. His name is Second Brain. If I need to know something, okay, Google, how you feel?
Well, and I also feel too that my students teach me.
American Heritage Month, and
I feel that my students teach me as well, because there's a lot that I learn from them that, especially if you're teaching media, we can bring back into the classroom, because they teach us as well. And so it's, I mean, that's why I love mass media, because the education is ongoing and the students can relate to it. So I love community college professor. Yes, you have my heart. I understand you well.
25 years. According to IMDb, you got your start in 2017 as a writer and a producer. It was a documentary that you made called My Life with Rosie. Can you tell us about that, please?
Oh, try not to cry. This documentary was personal for me because I was able to spotlight a person, which is my husband's first cousin. And you've also interviewed his cousin as well, Dante Green. And I was able to spotlight Rosa Parks. And in being part of this family for 20 plus years, I was hearing stories about Rosa Parks that I never read in history books. And so it was important for me to tell a different type of story of Rosa Parks. And I did that through using my husband's aunt, Carolyn, and it literally changed my life. This is why I'm on television today, is because I did that. I produced that documentary.
Wow. 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 It was interesting because Rosie, I didn't realize that she was born and raised in Tuskegee, Alabama.
And then she moved to, she moved to Montgomery. But it was, I mean, but those little nuggets that you're sharing right there is so important, because I was seeing all these other nuggets as well. I mean, because when you think about how, because that's where my husband's grandfather, which was Rosa Parks' first cousin, they were there as well, growing up together. But in telling her story, what I thought was interesting was that no one ever looks past 1955 and 1956. And I wanted to look past those years and basically look at a lot of her wonderful activism in the city of Detroit. And so in going back, Ron, is where I was looking at her early days. And basically those early days is what really formed the type of activists that America saw in 1955. And so, I mean, just that is so important.
Wow. I worked with a group called the Tuskegee Airmen, and working with them for a number of years. We got them the Congressional Gold Medal. We did all kind of things with them. Give me a chance, give me a call sometime. We'll talk about it. But I was down there when they opened up both of the hangars. And the thing that gets me about Tuskegee, it's in a little town, and you say, "This is Tuskegee." The biggest thing there is the university. I mean, there's so many, and this is history there to see the people that are there. Tuskegee, gosh.
But it's history that's so important today. Yes. And that's why I'm so glad that we're making this connection. Although we're making this connection right now, but our connection, I can see ongoing for years to come. Yes. Our continued connection.
Yes. You had, during the period of 2020 to 2023, we call it, or you call it, Everybody with Angela Williamson. Tell us about that, please. Yeah, John, tell.
It's a really interesting story, and we talk about connections and how important.
Yes.
And when I started out in television, because I mentioned I stayed in Los Angeles, but I started out at a small regional news channel called the Orange County News Channel. Yes. And the voice of our station was, or he's still here today, Bill Rogers. Okay. Unfortunately, the station is not here, but Bill Rogers, everybody knows his voice because he's been the voice of Disney for so many years. He's just recently retired. And Bill Rogers contacted me in 2020, right after I released the children's book that was part of the documentary. And I thought that Bill Rogers was calling me because he was telling me about this new show, public affairs show that they wanted to do on KLCS. Yes. And I honestly thought Bill Rogers was calling me so that I could talk about my new children's book. Because if you're an author, you want to be on PBS. Right. And I kept waiting for him to get to the punchline, invite me on the show. Yes. But he actually turned it on me, and he said, I think there needs to be a new face of people that we see doing public affairs. And I'm thinking you. And I was taken back. I was in awe, but I was scared, Ron. I was really scared because this was stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Gotcha. As I hear you talking, I'm saying to myself, she's getting ready to get into another phase of life. You got a great attitude. You really do. You really do. Keep it going. There was something that came out of Bond. It was called My Life with Rosie, a Bond Between Cousins paperback. June 5th, 2020, it came out.
And that children's book gives me the opportunity to connect with the younger audience that I haven't been able to connect with the documentary, because it's documentary's over an hour, and also to connect with the show. So this gives me another avenue to connect with young people, because I firmly believe, and this is something that Rosa Parks believed as well, is that our biggest change will come with that next generation. Yes. But that next generation will not make a change if we don't put into that generation. And so that's where that children's book actually started, was because after I was done with the documentary, before I started the TV show on KLCS, I wanted a way to reach that younger audience. And I decided to self-publish that children's book in paperback. I mean, my hope one day is to make that a hardcover so that it can get into every library in this country, especially in some states that it really should be in right now. And I'm never too far from that book. In fact, that children's book was just sent to Nigeria, Africa, through American University of Nigeria, so that because they teach California education there. Yes. And I think it's really important for them to learn about Rosa Parks. So to know that this little book is not only making a difference here in my own backyard, but it's making a difference internationally, is what's really important, is that we start to teach that next generation.
Don't let none of these governors around here say, no, we can't see that book in this country or in my state. That's bull. It's America. You need to act like it.
And it's important that our young people understand about prejudice and discrimination and human rights and how they can be activists to make sure that we get past certain issues that brings us back to 2020, that brings us back to 1969, yes. That brings us back to the LA riots, 1992. I mean, we keep going back, yes. and we will continue to go back if we don't let our young people know that they have the opportunity to make that change, and that anybody would want to stop that. It just boggles my mind.
Yes. And these the things that are going on today in the world, when you look and see what's going on over here, over there, blah, 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 blah. I mean, in Vermont yesterday, 3 guys were shot at by a guy. They got the guy in custody right now, thank God, just because they're Jewish. Come on, give me a break.
And when I hear things like this on the news, yes. It just breaks my heart, especially when I look at the civil rights movement and I look, the Jewish community was such a big part of it. And we're all brothers and sisters, and yet we have such a high level of hate. Our young people are seeing that. They need to stop seeing that, because there's no way we can make a change if we don't stop that.
Thank you. We got a few more minutes left. I happened to, in my research, I found a video called My Life with Rosie, the documentary, which aired 1/7/22. Roll it, Tony.
Carolyn is a caregiver, okay? So she loves people, doesn't matter what kind, how old, how young, whatever. So with Mrs. Parks, whenever the opportunity for her to care for her, she was ready. And she would go there and, comb her hair or just read to her. So she was very affectionate as she got frail. But Carolyn always was.
Wow. Can you say something?
I mean, it's just so hard. I'm here, I promise. I mean, telling that story really changed my life. Okay. I mean, I told that story, and I was first-time documentary filmmaker at 44, and I told that story, and not only the story about Rosa Parks and her activism in Detroit, right. but how she impacted all of those women to continue that activism. And I realized that age is but a number. We cannot let that stop us from doing what is right. Gotcha. And so I walked away. By the time I was done shooting that documentary, I walked away knowing that I can and should do better.
Okay. Speaking of filmmaking, any ideas or thoughts you might have to get into that? When I saw that you're a filmmaker, I said, ooh, because one of the things about filmmakers, I love my favorite 4-letter word, ideas. You can make all the films you want. That's what I love about it. You got any plans like that? Anything in the future?
I actually have a unique opportunity. I've been invited by the American University of Nigeria, and I will be going to Nigeria in February. And not only will I be shooting episodes for my show, but I'm hoping that we will come away with an idea and footage for a new documentary. I think it's important for us to see what our brothers and sisters are doing in Nigeria to bring our form of higher education to the community that surrounds them, but also too, I have heard, and so I can't wait to see this, how Christians and Muslims are working together in Nigeria for a better life for their children. And I think that story should be told.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We got to get you back. Angie, we most sincerely thank you for being a guest on our program, and very happy to have had you. Please do come back again. Please. We give you, 18 minutes, add 10 minutes to that. It goes by too fast. I want to thank your manager and publicist, Joe Williamson, for making it possible to have you as a guest. And of course, best wishes in your future, madam.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure and an honor, and we will be working together again. I know we will.
I'll give Joe has my telephone number. He'll give it to you. Okay.
Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Angela Sadler Williamson, PhD. Okay. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose What Life, The Way to Lose Weight, Larry Buford's book To the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training Facility and Actors Space. And many thanks to our guest today, actress, producer, director, Tanna Frederick, author, filmmaker, producer, copyright, Angela Sadler Williamson, PhD. The Actor's Choice is a presentation of B&B Productions. Rudolph Brewington is president, and Sidney Chandler is our executive producer. Special thanks to our ever-growing audience. I'm Ron Brewington. Be well. We'll see you the next time.